Welcome to Chess Killer Tips, brought to you by ChessQueen.com. Here's your host, Alexandra Kosteniuk.
Hello everybody. I would like to show you today a study composed by Ryabinin in 1989. It's White to move, White plays and draws. It's not a very easy study to solve, and when I'll be back, I'll show you the method how to solve it. You can press pause now and think about this position for a moment. I'll be back at the end of the music. I'm back. As we can see, White is 2 pieces down. In order to make a draw, he needs to win at least one of the pieces. For the moment, the black rook on a7 is hanging, and it cannot go away from the a file since the black bishop on a4 has to be protected. For the same reason, the white rook on e4 doesn't want to go away from the 4th rank since it has to keep the bishop on a4 under the threat. So for the first move, we consider only the moves that keep the white rook on the 4th rank. As we know from one of the previous chess killer tips, if on the first move white takes the rook on a7, then after king takes a7, king takes e4, black will finally win the 2 white pawns and the game. Also, we have to remember that in studies there is always only one correct solution. So if we see 2 similar variations, we know that one of them is wrong, so we have to find the way to refute it. So let's see how a grandmaster can try to solve this study. When I was trying to solve the study, I started first with the moves of the white rook. First I calculated the variation rook to b4. In that case, black plays knight c2. White has to move the rook to h4, king g5, and if white plays rook e4, then rook a8, king b7, and bishop b3, with the idea after king takes a8 to play bishop d5 check. If on the first move white plays rook h4, with the idea after king g5 to play rook h1, then black plays rook a8 with the plan after king b7 to play king g5 only then, and here after rook h1 black would play rook a5 and white cannot take on a1 since after rook takes a1 black wins the rook after bishop c6 check. So after trying for some time to solve the study with the moves of the rook on the first move, I didn't succeed. So I started calculating the moves d3 or f3, protecting the rook. Since I didn't know what move is correct, I kept in mind that it could be any of them, and I just went on. So, for example, I start with d3. In that case, black has to protect the rook on a7 and to play rook a8. So we continue d3, rook a8. Again, the only move for white is to keep attacking the black rook by playing king b7. Again, the only move for black is rook a5. White has no other choice and he has to play king b6. Of course, black wants to win since he is 2 pieces up, and he has to play knight b3 since after rook a8 we'll play again king b7. So, king b6, knight b3. White has to attack the black knight by playing rook b4, with the idea to take on b3 and then to take on a5. So after rook b4, black has to protect his rook again by moving it to a8, rook a8. And after king b7, black now can move the rook from the a file, since after, for example, rook h8, white cannot take on a4 in view of knight c5 check. So if black plays rook h8, white, before taking on a4, has to protect from the fork by playing d4. After d4, two black pieces are hanging, and black cannot move his bishop since the knight on b3 will be lost. After d4, the only way for black to continue his play for a win is to play rook h4, with the idea after rook a4 to play knight c5 check. But as we can see, after d4, rook h4, white has to take on a4, since otherwise black will just take on d4 and win the game. So let's see what will happen after rook a4, knight c5 check, d takes c5, rook takes a4. The only hope for white now is the advanced c pawn, so he has to push it forward by playing c6. Black will not be on time if he just plays king e6, so black after c6 has two moves, rook before check or king e6. Rook before check is trickier than king e6, but both moves are possible. After rook before check, the only move for white is king c8, since after king e8 he loses after rook c4, king b7, king e6, c7, king d7. So rook before check, king c8, king e6, c7, and now black plays king e7, and since white has a pawn on f2, he's not in a stalemate and he will finally lose the game. After calculating this variation, one gets an idea that if white will somehow lose the f2 pawn before getting to the final position, he will manage to make a draw. And as we can remember, after rook h8, d4, rook h4, it was white to move, and white had the possibility to play f4. After f4, black has to take on f4, and after rook takes a4, knight c5, d takes c5, rook a4, white managed to get the same position but without the pawn on f2, and as we know, it's a draw, since after c6, rook b4, king c8, king e6, c7, king e7, it's a stalemate. But again, can black play better than rook h4? After thinking for a while, we understand that there is one more move for black after king b7, which is rook e8, with the idea after d4 to play rook e4, and here white doesn't have this resource of playing f4, and therefore will lose the game. But we remember that on the first move we had two possibilities, d3 and f3, and we weren't sure which one is the best. We can make the conclusion that after d3 white will lose, and after f3 he will make a draw, since after f3, rook a8, king b7, rook a5, king b6, knight b3, rook b4, rook a8, king b7, black doesn't have the rook e8 move, since the e4 square after d4 is under control of the f3 pawn. So the only move that black has after king b7 is rook h8. In that case, white plays d4, rook h4, the very strong move f4, as we remember it's very important to sacrifice this pawn now, rook takes f4, rook takes a4, knight c5 check, d takes c5, rook takes a4, c6, rook b4 check, king c8, king e6, c7, and after king e7, it's a stalemate. If black plays king d6, then after king d8, rook h4, white will promote the c pawn into knight, and after c8 knight, it will be a theoretical draw. So you see that sometimes patience is the key for solving a chess problem. Chess Killer Tips has been in the top 3 video podcasts of all video podcasts in the world. Please help it stay that way. All it takes is enter your email in the box at the Chess Killer Tips homepage. Then, when you get the automated email from Podcast Alley, confirm your vote. Thanks!
Thanks for watching the Chess Killer Tips podcast. Send your questions and comments to Alexandra at Kosteniuk.com.